Alrighty, what's up, guys? Welcome to the live stream. A little bit late for me here, but probably a good time on the East Coast or whatever. So yeah, in profit on this long right here on Bitcoin. I'm also in an ETH long as well. So I'm not going to show you the stop loss for it. You got to check out the Discord for that if you're interested. The link's somewhere in the description below. I think the first one, but anyway. So let's see. If any news, I mean, yeah, let's just get into TA. There's not too much. Yeah, Fed meeting, I guess it's going well. We got Jerome gonna speak. I don't know, 24 hours, 48 hours, something of that nature. And yeah, I mean, ultimately, let's see. What's up, Johnny M? What's up, Carlton? Appreciate you guys tuning in. Always smash the like buttons. Appreciate that. Haven't done a live stream in I don't know, a couple days, week, who knows. But anyway, trigger wave right here, which is good. That's the main thing. So I mean, a lot of people I probably don't realize, how good this is on your 3 day especially. So we look at the highest time frame here, which is important to look at, and these are the little bitty trigger waves, and they usually bring you forward until they fail and don't, and then price crashes and you lose all your money. I'm just kidding, but could happen. Anything's possible. So just look at previous. I mean, you could argue this one took a little bit of time. If it's like that, it's close to 125 there. If you even look at kind of yeah, that's Bitcoin right there. I mean, back here, we're actually, here we go. This guy on the 2 day. So, from the, you could do it. I mean, there's no necessarily like right or wrong way to do it, but that's the main case for 130K. Where would that be? Mid to late November. If November is your really green month, then what's up, Jay Sherlock? Appreciate you. You've been such a long time fan. Appreciate you, man. But yeah, if November is your good bullish month, which I think the odds are more likely that it will be than not. If you do look at the FOMC meeting that ended QT in 2019, though, that's when things took a turn for the worst. However, ETH outperformed Bitcoin on the way down during that. So I mean, I do think that ETH will continue to outperform Bitcoin regardless of what happens here. I do think the markets probably will continue even if Bitcoin doesn't make a new all-time high. I do think ETH has a decent shot of doing that. I think markets aren't going to do too bad until they stop cutting rates, which likely would be in January. Crazy thing too is inflation's still at 3%, which is considered too high or whatever, and they've kind of they're stopping QE, so just kick the damn can down the road. You know what I mean? That's the main thing there. So yeah, easy to get, not too hard to get inflation down to 3%. Very hard to get it down to 2%. I don't know if you'll ever see it maybe in some during the next market crash, at least temporarily, you would see inflation at 2%. I think I don't know if you're ever really gonna, especially if things keep going the way they are with the nation's debt and all that. I don't know if you'll ever really see true like 2% inflation rates again. I think you're not gonna see anything too crazy. Well, you may see some inflation, into the end of this decade, but we'll see. Anyway, so yeah, and then ETH, which is probably more relevant right now, 3 day trigger wave. I mean, if you think it's gonna be like, it's actually been a while since we've had you can compare it to this. I mean, there's been other ones. Interesting there. I mean, okay. It's like that, it'll take a little bit of time, and then this is really freaking interesting because sometimes things skip a year. Because if you look at, I was gonna say, yeah, more like October of this was like end of October too in 2023. Look at that wave right there, and nice jumpward into January. That's probably as long as I could see this market going forward. Let's compare it to end of October of 2024. And there's your case for 6,000. Now, if we get crazier, if we want to get all like, as bullish as possible here, it would probably be, okay, that was into January. You could make a way for, that's the same place, but if you did it from there, yeah, close to 7,000 or whatever, that's what we'd hope for, 7,000. So, Long story short, I don't really see a reason to sell right now. I don't see any major, bull signals. I mean, I guess things could turn around. The 3 week is the main thing I'm waiting for. I think once, and this wave is looking really, well, okay, yeah, a little bit better actually if you zoom out, but this wave is looking like it wants to extend rather than print the red dot, in my opinion. Could go either way, but it's looking more like, see over here. Let's see. Yeah, over here it got a little thin and then right upward, and that was January of 24. So that last kind of extension there, and if we were to do something like that, I'm just curious where. Yeah, there's a case for high sixes, so I do think you got some more in you. You know what I mean? You know, I, let's just see. I mean, 4,000. See, if you got $40,000 worth of ETH, you got 10 ETH, and you can get up to 60,000. I mean, that's not bad. You know what I mean? Not life-changing wealth by any means, but I mean, if you had 400 grand worth of ETH, if you had 100 ETH, 600K, a little bit different, a little bit better. So yeah, and then I mean, hopefully ETH can bleed a hell of a lot against S&P 500. Things that you may convert it into in 2026 and convert back to Bitcoin. I mean, if you can get this, say you got 40 grand worth of ETH or whatever. I'm just spitballing here. I mean, that's a lot of ETH for most people, but well, I'm sure a lot of you guys would be in that range, hopefully. Well, I guess it depends, altcoin or whatever. But let's say you got 40 grand worth of ETH. It gets up to 6,000, hopefully. You know, you got you got 60 grand worth of ETH. Hopefully you can sell that and then get back into Bitcoin at, let's say, 60K or something sometime next year, hopefully. One Bitcoin you can get with this. One Bitcoin will probably bring you multiple hundreds of thousands of dollars by the end of this decade. And if you converted it back into ETH at the right point or whatever, and ETH goes up to, let's say ETH is like 20K a coin at some point. I mean, you might be able to finagle something, finagle something of $1 million. Here, I'm trying to do the math in my head. Not the easiest thing to do, but yeah. What's up, James? Appreciate you, man. So yeah, that main video I have on my channel, I kind of talk about this scenario. I think, ideally you'd want ETH to probably go up to 7,000 for that to happen this cycle, but we'll see. So yeah, I mean, weekly right there, going upward. True it. Yeah, I mean, overall we're okay. ETH Bitcoin, 4 days looking good. 3 days, 3 day was printing a green dot there, not anymore. If we look at regular candles, I'm curious if there's. Okay, kind of the same there. 3 days, okay, I would kind of count that there. 7 hours to confirm. That should easily bring you up higher here and gain some momentum for ETH versus Bitcoin. I'd be curious to see how this does if you do see, because this is when the Fed ended QT in 2019, about a month before this, and it went down a little bit. And then you got a nice trajectory upward. I have no idea. I mean, with this would be, I'm curious if you were to see. That's your case to make a new, it would take many years, but that's your case to make a new all-time high against Bitcoin. That would probably be, if you're going to, it'd probably have to look like that into the next cycle or whatever. It'd probably have to look like that, but yeah. Because this one couldn't even, if you look here, I mean, this one couldn't even get freaking, 43. Couldn't even. Last year, well, I wouldn't say trickiest ever, James. I mean, if you held with some steel cojones, you did okay for Ethereum. But yeah, I mean, holding through this was not the easiest thing. I mean, but then imagine you got in down here. I mean, you doubled your Bitcoin evaluation, and now I guess a little bit of greed. Well, I wouldn't even say greed at this point. I would just say you're still okay, just hoping for one more leg up here. Yeah, and getting more of that, but yeah. Trump and Melania coins, yeah, I mean, that was kind of your top in January. Yeah, I mean, that signaled that was kind of sell the news. ApeCoin, I like the weekly, I guess, that confirms in 6 days. The last time it happened, you dumped down probably 90%. Let's see, yeah, 84%, not too shabby. But no, in all seriousness, I mean, I think you got a shot at like over $1 for this. Hopefully, we'll see what happens. Ape Fest just ended or whatever. Well, so you got this bullish sign, but other than that, you're kind of bleeding again. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Some other ones, Chainlink. How's the weekly on Chainlink? Trigger wave forming. Yeah, some of these have just been moving so slowly. Such as Cardano as well. You're just not really seeing anything too spectacular or interesting even. But you are making higher lows. I mean, you've been in the same range like all year or over a year now. Well, about a year, let's say, yeah. And hopefully you'd break upward at some point here. I think you can, to something. Um, this point, yeah, I can see going up to $2 or whatever, you know. So yeah. Speaking of the Trump and Melania quote, so the Melania one just rugged or whatever, crashed more. Who knows what the hell they were doing with that? The Trump one, I think there's obviously more potential. I do think that the Trump one can, I don't know, double, maybe even triple. I mean, who knows? Maybe back up to some of these points. This line in the sand over here, this pocket, like $13. So that's what I'd be looking at there. So I didn't say exit the market necessarily in October, James. I said the DCA out, if you were going to DCA out, would be a start to scale out from October to the end of the year. Um, and that other point I've always talked about on the 3 week on ETH, so that's not flashing yet. So it's always play it by ear. But yeah, I mean, DCAing out from now to end of year is definitely not the worst idea, I would say. I don't know if I would sell everything immediately right now, just blow it, just blow everything out. I would say DCAing out makes the most sense, or waiting for more bearish signs. So yeah. This one rugged, I heard, or supposedly, I don't know, Melania meme. That just, well, that was the drop down. Actually, let's look at this on a real exchange. Kraken's, okay, I don't even. It's on, okay, yeah, Coinbase won't even. Crypto.com. Actually, I like Crypto.com, yeah. This I would stay the hell away from, but we'll see what happens. Even the Trump one, I mean, it'll probably, I could see it having a bit of a recovery here if things go well, but we'll see. Um, Unless he releases something else, but yeah. Mutant apes for NFT. I mean, I think in all likelihood you should see a jump. I mean, if you can break above this kind of area, you would probably jump up to back to this area. This was your high in December 24 or whatever, which was in US dollar evaluation, probably like 15 G's. So I could see you coming back up there if all goes well. Was it 4 or 5,000 now? Yeah, maybe 12,000, maybe 15,000 if all goes well. I think you would need some craziness, crazy good news or whatever to really, bring these up. So yeah, yeah. I mean, let's see. Let's look at like some of the blue chip or mainstream altcoins that are not scams, such as Solana. Trigger wave forming right here in the 3 day, potentially coming up to 266 and then 300 into the end of the year, maybe even 400. I don't think you're going to go above 400, but that's just always been my opinion. I mean, we got a little bit of time. We don't have a crazy amount of time. I think that the good thing here is that we're going to really find out an answer within the next month. The bad thing is that answer may not be the answer we want, but I do think it will be the positive answer we want. Now, I wanted to show you guys the other thing that I was looking at was fear and greed, which it's doing what I've wanted it to do. You got a little dip into the fear there. Now you're back above. So, just basic TA would tell you that if you hold this area on fear and greed, you would probably be able to break upward and hit extreme greed. I say this kind of, half jokingly, but we're due for some extreme greed here. And that would probably be your end of your cycle or whatever. So yeah, now when would we hit that? We're at 42 right now. I mean, the last times you kind of were close to, getting back above or back here, it was October. Okay, so it's kind of similar to here a little bit. That was October, and then your peak was, did you peak at the end? I went into 24 there, but December could be doable. Same thing here, October, and then your peak was in November or December or whatever. I think it peaked before, yeah. But anyway, so it would equate to probably extreme greed in December if all goes well for what we're looking at. So yeah, what's up, Honda man? Been a minute. Doing well, man. Doing well. Been seeing a lot of Hondas lately. I'm in Japan right now. So yeah. But yeah, so that's what I'm looking at there. I wanted to look at, I mean, obviously it's going to say Bitcoin season. Yeah, this is interesting because it may probably start to bounce here. So yeah, that's what we're looking at there. Um, hmm, are we bullish through for the next 3 months? Well, I don't know about January, but I would probably we'll take it month by month. I'm bullish for November for right now. So yeah, hopefully December. I don't know about January. That's gonna be tougher, but we'll see. Probably not January. That's the thing too. Like, not many people are still holding alts. That's what I've been talking to a few people about. Like that. That was kind of like finally nail in the coffin to a certain extent. And I do think that Bitcoin dominance. It could go either way here. I mean, but I do think these trigger waves and such would kind of bring you down in Bitcoin dominance. I know that like I was listening to Ben Cowan, really good analyst, and he was saying it shows where price kind of wants to go. Maybe so. Yeah, I mean, it definitely could, but sometimes it's like the bottom, sometimes or the top, excuse me. Sometimes it's a blow off top, and I would think in this situation, based on what we saw in previous kind of cycles here, you got your big drop down, kind of right there, that you should be able to, hopefully recover and finally see, you know, finally see things go well. Yeah, I mean, I always look at the markets day by day, or most days at least, when traditional markets are open at least. So yeah, and there's XRP here. Uh, hmm, hmm, trying to think. Hmm. I want to look at. Let's just look at some cryptos here. I've looked at XRP, not too bad. Binance, it's obviously one of the big players. You had Doge. Let's look at Dogecoin because you got the. I mean, obviously people have been quiet, the big fans of this or whatever, but let's take a look here because can this have another rally up to these highs? Now, in terms of market cap, I think you actually already made a new all-time high for this. I could be wrong. It's still 30 billion. Yeah, I could see us get rallying back up to like 40 something cents. In terms of market cap, I think you already made a new all-time high though. But yeah, mm, well, we'll see what happens, James. You could be right. Yeah, we'll see what happens. I mean, I'm just kind of waiting for more of my signs to sell, but I think that when it is toppy, when it actually is the top, it doesn't look as toppy. What we're really hoping for is like a weekly green dot continuing a wave forward for like a top in, let's say, December or January for ETH. Um, yeah. Did they build the? I know a lot of the parts come from Canada for the Hondas. I don't know. They switched around, but yeah. Um, yeah, the Hondas rely. I mean, it's always been that kind of reliable, American, or not American, but reliable Japanese car. You know, I mean, a lot of the cars are Nissan's, yeah, Toyota, Nissan. You see Honda's the most, I think. Like that's the biggest one, but yeah. I mean, it's all pretty much the same thing at the end of the day. Um, but Tesla, that's an American car. Speaking of Tesla, let's see how that's done. I think that hasn't been doing too bad, right? Yeah. It's silent all time high almost. Not too many people have talked about this, so this probably will peak when Bitcoin or when crypto in general or stock market peaks for the year or whatever. Um, I would assume end of decade you might be able to do a double, next couple of years. For this year, you might be able to rally to 600, but that could be a little bit of a long shot. We'll see what ends up happening. I do think like the 3 week bear div here probably will lead to a correction. I mean, this one's tougher to predict sometimes, but or even the 2 week, ooh, you're like kind of getting there. You know what I mean? Maybe something like that, and then big area, yeah, like that. It could be something of that nature. And this would be a 30% jump up and then a 40% correction, which is pretty typical of Tesla. And then into, if we continue this forward, let's just see where we would. Yeah, something like that, maybe, into end of decade or whatever. That'd be my guess for this. Like, still doing pretty good, but you gotta take your time or whatever. So yeah. I've heard mixed views kind of on, I mean, Teslas are cool, very, uh, very, obviously technologically advanced. Self-driving is big, I think, but, I guess the first, it breaking down, that's what I've heard. Like, for it breaking down, it's like they're kind of finicky sometimes. They have issues break down. Obviously, won't last the longest, but, yeah. You got to replace the tires a lot in them, too, but, yeah. Um, Depends what you're into. Mm. Tesla advanced, technologically advanced? No? Are they dangerous? Well, isn't the Model Y considered the safest car? I mean, the AI autopilot does hallucinate. I've seen that. Not in, maybe not Tesla, but in China. It's not quite, like, it's easy to get almost there. It's hard to get there completely. That's the thing with AI, I think a lot of people are missing. It's easy to get close to AGI, um, or General Intelligence, yeah, AGI, right? It's hard to get to AGI, you know what I mean? Um, it's easy to get close to things. It's hard to get quite there. That's what I would say. Easy to get to 3% inflation. Very hard to get to 2%. Let's see. Oh yeah. Growing where to seek profits. Yeah, I'm sure that could work. The thing too, I think the future maybe with like some of those like robots that deliver food. There's a lot of them in Miami. More and more of them like kind of delivering food. And that's probably what'll really end the gig economy to a certain extent. The Uber drivers and all that. So yeah, um, that's why you drive the Honda because it's cheaper. Yeah, you're still there. Yeah, I'd say that's still the yeah. The latest. I tried a few days ago. Do you have a what Tesla do you have? Am I? I'm curious. Do you have the three, the S? What do you have? The Y. Um, Cabs will go completely dry. Yeah, it could be, man. It could be. I wonder. Yeah, I mean, the Waymos have been doing that for a few years now, so yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. Um, what was I gonna say regarding that? Yeah, I mean, I think we got 4 or 5 more years for the gig economy. We got probably until like the late end of this decade for the gig economy, and then all that, at least in like developed countries like the U.S., then it's kind of done for the gig economy, and that will probably lead into the next recession. But I mean, if the cabs, you can't even override it if it screws up. So you're going down with the ship if it if it screws up. You know what I mean? You're going down with the you're going down with the ship. But no, I mean the quote that you guys have probably already heard someone say is like the only thing worse than a robot driving a car is a human driving a car. I mean, humans are terrible drivers too. So I mean, yeah. Um. You try okay. Oh man, a old Honda with a manual. Are you in the U.S.? I feel like that's hard to find in the U.S. Maybe something from 20 years ago, maybe. I mean, nobody can afford fuel. Yeah, they're more. You know, I think from what I've heard, I was talking to, I heard about like the Honda Fit. I was talking to somebody who had a Honda Fit here, and they were saying it's like worth not a lot. Well, there's one that was like 10 years old or something, but it was not worth like that as much money as you would have thought. But the Honda Fit's always a cheap one, right? Like that's always the real like economical one. It's kind of a cute car, Um, but yeah, I would think the Hondas probably would be the cheapest in Japan, right? It's supply and demand too. There's so many Hondas, so Um, the thing with cars too is it's kind of you got to pay for insurance. There's a lot of costs associated with it, but I mean in the U.S. you kind of need a car. You could, I guess, if you don't travel that much, you could kind of just use Uber. If you only need it once every few days. But I mean that adds up, obviously. So yeah. Um, then, marriage with robots. What was I going to say regarding that? I mean, trying to think. Uh, yeah, maybe. I mean, I feel like there'll be more. The technology's going to get good, more human, like hybrids and stuff. I mean, I guess it's stuff that'll sound crazy to like us right now, but the younger generations in the future will find it, normal or whatever. I don't know. I wonder what people kind of thought about like the internet when it was first coming out and all this, digital stuff that we do now back in the, 90s or 80s. What people back then kind of thought about it. So I don't know. Um, I mean, I don't think this stuff is necessarily going to ruin our lives. It's going to cause disruption and recessions that we've always seen, potentially depressions and changing world orders and all that. But, nothing that hasn't happened before. Mm, 1,000 horsepower? Oh, how much would have that must have costed a fortune, right? How much would that cost? Boy, 1,000 horsepower is more than a freaking Lambo, right? Unless I'm missing something here. I want more details on that. So you could buy a used. Okay. The sport ones, yeah. Well, I guess if you could drive, yeah, you would save money on fuel. Yeah, it's better. Does the manuals even still have better fuel economy? It's probably close now. I wonder if they even still have better fuel economy in this with all the way the technology is. I wonder. Maybe a little bit. It's probably so negligible at this point. Let's see. I forget what that one looks like. Uh, mm, I feel like like a manual Honda from like, I don't know, 2005 or something, that would probably be, very, very economical. Oh, okay, model. I mean, that's extreme. Like, um, right. Yeah. I think we're farther than a lot of people think from general intelligence. That's my view. I think it's easy to get close to it, hard to actually get there. But I do think we're not that far away from like disrupting enough of like Uber drivers and shit like that. You know what I mean? Like I think that's only like a few years away. I don't know if you really need what's considered advanced general intelligence for that. I guess it also kind of depends on how you define AGI. Mm, you can get a Model S for 30K. A used one, obviously. Yeah. Yeah, that's equivalent of 800. Yeah, it's an electric engine, but yeah. I wonder what that would probably have to be one that's like 5 years old or 30K is don't those cost like 70, 80K or something? Um, so yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, the thing too is like you don't know how long it's gonna last, I guess, but I don't know, is there a warranty, right? I mean, you're not gonna, let's be real. I mean, Tesla, it's cool, it's technologically advanced, self-driving is all that, but obviously, you're gonna save more money and crap along, probably if you buy a Honda or whatever. I mean, for now. Um, but yeah. Mm. Artificial super intelligence is something where it's true. That's again like all this stuff. It kind of depends how you define general intelligence, artificial super intelligence. Like in the sense that we've had general intelligence for many years, in the sense that it could beat the grandmaster at chess. That's been around for a long time. It depends how you define that. You know what I mean? I don't think you're ever. I think to really, really replicate the human brain is going to take a long, long time, and even that would wouldn't even be, mm, general. Yeah, I mean, yeah, advanced super intelligence. Like I could see that not even happening in any of our life. Like it could be a point where you just never like that. That's so hard to. I mean, we wouldn't even want that because that's where it gets completely scary. Like advanced general, general intelligence, I think is not a big deal because you already have humans. If it's something that can just compete with humans, I don't think that's, just at the level of humans. Maybe more efficient in some ways. But once you have something that's more creative than any human, that's where it gets kind of scary. But yeah, mm, general intelligence of fuel, human, super. I don't know if you're gonna get there anytime soon. It's advanced super intelligence. The Turing test. I never even heard of that. Turing. Mm, okay. Yeah. We'll see what happens. I mean, I'll tell you what I think. I think the 2030s will be, your typical bad decade, your depression or whatever. That could be really bad because that's like kind of changing world order potential. I think the period of changing world order would be, from like 2030 to 2050. You know, happens every 100 years on average. So, and that would align with kind of the trajectory we're on for U.S. debt to GDP ratio and a lot of other metrics. So yeah, I mean I guess that's kind of the thing I worry about to a certain extent, but there's not much we can do. Um, we can try to hedge our ways the right way. Um, I'll show you something that's been really interesting. So if we look at, ooh, I didn't even see Nikki future. There's futures for it now. If we look at this, just curious about that. Yeah, typical drop there. Now I don't know if you're buying the futures one, but interesting play here. This is Japan stock market thing. Interesting play there against S&P 500. The other thing too. Let's look at the triple Q here. Double bottom. Very interesting play. It's been outperforming the triple Q since 2022. I think this is pretty risky for obvious reasons, but it's freaking down. 81%. My God, since '06. But we'll see what happens. I don't know if I would buy this, but I could see some emerging markets, show some strength. More global ETFs or something. I think those will probably hold up a little bit better than the SPY in the 2030s. I don't know if it's the time to get into it now, but yeah. Mm, feel fool a human that you are one. Yeah, I mean, yeah, ChatGPT could probably pretty much do that, but I think if the human, tests it out enough, that's a scary part, I guess. When you have it, especially if you design it to like try to scam people and talk to people and do stuff like that. Mm, yeah, I mean, yeah, it's your yeah. Who knows? 50K for next 3 years. Um, Safest play in crypto for that would probably be Bitcoin. Um, I mean, I don't even feel like, I mean, I could divide it out, but I just don't think that's like, if you're just trying to hold, it's not like the way I'm doing it right now. Like, I mean, I don't know. What would a portfolio, like a full portfolio, like, I mean, you could do like, I don't know, 20% Bitcoin, 10% ETH, you got 70% left. You could go like 20% Berkshire Hathaway, 30% S&P 500, the rest NASDAQ. I mean, I don't know, pick your poison, you know. Maybe take away Berkshire Hathaway, put 10% gold. I don't know. The reason I like Berkshire Hathaway is because I think it can, potentially outperform S&P 500 and NASDAQ. Well, yeah, potentially outperform NASDAQ and S&P 500 in the year 2026. Although this is still bleeding here, but this point could be interesting. See how it was. Yeah, see 2021 there, that jump. Who knows, though? Who knows? Yeah. Yeah. Maybe this really is. I mean, the people that think super cycle, maybe this is, yeah. United Health. Let's actually look at that. Interesting how that's not. What is it? Here we go. They bought the dip on this, and it will probably correct and keep going. Interesting play, yeah. And that wave there, don't lie. So yeah, that's kind of what I would look at there. But yeah, that's the thing too. Let's look at it versus gold. So this is a good deal against gold, although S&P 500 is down against gold too, so it's probably also a good deal. But this looks not bad against gold. I wouldn't say it looks extremely good against gold, but not bad against gold. Now let's look at this against S&P 500 because it's the main thing people want to. It's the main thing people have trouble outperforming, and yeah, it's bleeding some more. So I mean, I don't know. But I do think, maybe this next wave on the 3 week will give you a little something, but we shall see. It would. I mean, you're getting into, I would say, pretty good. I mean, it's 30% down against S&P 500. Now, you could argue the new management might be bad. That's what you got to be careful with here. But every time you have, I mean, look at these corrections. Every time you have a freaking, high 20s correction, that usually was it. Now, it didn't look too good here at the bottom. Well, it kind of did. You got your deeper anchor wave, but yeah. That one was, the late 90s. I don't know. I wonder what the hell they were doing back there. But it'd be interesting, too, because if you think we're in. That's interesting. That would be interesting, yeah. Because if you think we're in like the 20-year period, we'd be in the late 90s now. I don't think you would crush 60% again. That was like during that, yeah. I don't know what they were doing there. That's weird. This is something I'm keeping an eye on. But I do think it's, historically, it's a good deal against the S&P 500. Anything close to 30% down is a pretty good deal because you would have, and look at it if you got in over here. I mean, I didn't even do it from the bottom, but right to there, okay, 20% is not that great, but well, it's still something. I mean, you got, 65%, not bad. So, yeah. So, yeah, let's look at Bitcoin versus gold. That's a good one to look at. Or let's look at gold versus Bitcoin. So, yeah, I think that, I hate to say for the Bitcoin people, including myself being one of them, but I do think you're getting there. You're getting to the end of, I think you're going to continue, like you're going to jump more. I don't think gold, I don't know if gold will outperform the SPY in the NASDAQ next year. It could. It might. Definitely might. But, I think that you're probably going to get one more drop downward here, and then that'll be probably it. Now, this peaked here against gold. You peaked in, so far, December 24. So, Bitcoin needs, in the 4-year cycle, one more drop down. So, maybe if you have gold dump and Bitcoin pump a bit, this could make a lower low, and that'll be it. look right here. This was November 21, and this was obviously December of 17. Maybe it's December, and that would look. What would that look like? That would look something like this. No, it'd be quicker. Something like that or whatever. There was this one April, and then you got just like October, obviously. So yeah. Let's see. Medium time. Okay, yeah, sure. I mean, I believe you. You're. It looks pretty good, man. I mean, I just, yeah, I think XRP, like I've said before, I think, well, I didn't say it today, but yeah, I think $4 is a good goal, hopefully around these areas. Hopefully $3 in the shorter term, but yeah, to answer your question, I mean, the money flow, yeah, it's coming up, sure. It looks pretty good, yeah. It does look good overall. And this is up a lot from here, but if you take it from that wick, I mean, yeah, 20%, still a good amount. So yeah. What was I? Let's just look at others in general. So this is still coming up, I guess, which is good, obviously. Trigger wave forming right here in the weekly. So I think this is, you did not make a new all-time high yet. December 24 is your high for this cycle so far. If all goes well, what the hell could happen here? I mean, you're hoping for something like that, I guess. This would be very extended. I would assume you're hoping for something like this from kind of these lows if you want a new all-time high. Can you get a new all-time high? I mean, maybe. Yeah, if it doubles, if your average altcoin doubles, I could see it. I could see it happening, yeah. There's a new all-time high. So, yeah. Let's see, Dow. I'm still in Asia, yeah, I'm in Japan. Let's see here. Dow. So, actually, I want to find like something where there's a lot of data on this. Okay, yeah. So, I mean, you've been in this range for like 2 years now. Jeez. I think it could potentially get up to 1,000 if all goes well, or back up to these highs. That's what I'll say. It looks not bad. Who was talking about Dow? Was it Pentoshi? No, maybe not. I forget what he was talking about. Tao, I think, could do pretty well, Dow. I like the name, but usually these names that aren't even that original, I mean, they're not really, I don't know, usually they don't do too much, but yeah. Oh, there's a, this is proof, it shows my ignorance. This is proof of work, then, that means? Huh. Let's see. Wait, is Trump in? Is he still in Malaysia or whatever? I don't think he's in Japan. Is he in Japan? That'd be pretty funny if he is. I know he's in Malaysia, right? But yeah, let's see down. Okay. Well, if we compare it to halvenings, that could be a good sell signal. Like, yeah, supply and demand there. That's what you could be looking at there. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, you could look at the other. The Litecoin halving is not that already. When was the last Litecoin halving? Was it back here or something? I don't know. Is there on the Bitcoin one? I have no idea. This has done nothing, God. Still making higher lows generally, I guess. I don't know. I mean, from May of 22. Hopefully you jump back up to 400. I don't know. But yeah. Trump he's in Japan. Okay. Cool. How am I liking Japan? It's good, man. It's cool. Definitely, the culture is really cool. The food's pretty excellent. Kind of everything people say and people want from a country. It's a good place, man. It's starting to get colder a little bit this time of year. You're kind of getting mainly fall weather. Like it was 80 degrees a day or two when I first got here, but Now it's cooled down a bit. So yeah, no, I like it. I like it. I think it's a good place. Pretty reasonable for what you pay for it, I would say. For what you get. So yeah, Japan's pretty good. Everybody should go to Japan at some point, I feel like. So yeah. Hmm. Hmm. Let's see. Somebody's first was close by. Now they have huge price difference. So hopefully soon, Ron. I mean, we could look at AVAX. That's been lagging a little bit, I guess. I mean, what hasn't been lagging for all? So yeah, 3 week pull of diamond. I don't know if that should be the strongest, thing to be afraid of here. But yeah, I mean, you're just hoping for the jump. I mean, maybe it rejects and comes down to these levels. I would hope not, though. But yeah, I guess the fact that you're above September 23 lows is kind of good. I mean, you're up 100% from there. I mean, I'd hope we could do something. Where would you sell this? I mean, okay, it's not a trigger wave to the top, so it's not as bad. Um, if this rolls over or goes upward, the opposite of rolls over, trigger wave to the downside in December would be probably the sell signal. Hopefully, at some much higher points. So yeah. Hmm. Yeah. But no, Japan's really cool. High population density, but it's obviously an old population. I mean, it was over 100 million people here, and realize how large it was. But yeah. Hmm. Hmm. Well, ETH is pumping. That's good. Um, you got the Bitcoin ETH long, and I also bought some on spot right around market open or whatever an hour or two ago. So I'm up slightly on that buy. I probably should not be buying right now. This is kind of, I'm doing the trades and I want more greed on the spot positions. This is like one of those where I'm planning on, well, I do think we'll go up, but, planning on getting out, as we get to some of the higher targets I have. But yeah, I know. I think we got a few more months here, hopefully. I think we might ApeCoin trying to come up. I'm trying to think if we're going to look at something that's a little bit more interesting. I know Zcash pumped even. Nobody's even talked about how much this is pumped, and it's still going. She's still, that isn't that insane. There's always things like that. Yeah, there's always like I mean, if you got in over here, you're up 10x. My golly, yeah. There's always stuff that does it, man. Yeah, I forget even why this pumped, but that could be it, man. When it goes up 10x like that, I could be wrong. Who the hell knows? But that could be, that could be it. Obviously, it went up that much. You're hitting your old all-time high. Maybe you could get up to 600 if all goes well. Follows everything else. But yeah, a couple other ones I want to. I'm sure this is doing probably nothing right now. Yeah, Polygon. Well, it's doing this breaking above 20 cents. We'll take it. Or hitting 20 cents. Hopefully you'd got up to like 40 at some point here. Man. Dano, give me a shout. I appreciate you. Dana, shout out to Dana. Appreciate you, Julie. Hope you're doing well. Skiing and oh, nice, nice. Let me look up. Where is that? That's probably. I don't even, have you done skiing in Japan yet? Is that like considered as good as like the Alps, the Swiss Alps? I've heard the Swiss Alps is like the best place in the world to ski. Oh yeah, that's way north. Yeah, yeah, you're up. You're way up north there. Oh yeah, that's all. Yeah, yeah. I wonder like you can't even. Yeah, you gotta. Yeah, because it's not connected by. You gotta fly into that area probably, right? To get up there. It looks cool up there, man. Yeah, it looks that part of Japan. It looks cool. But you can't take no bullet train there. At least not from not from Tokyo or whatever, wherever. So yeah. Kadena. That one got rugged. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of ETFs on the way too. So yeah. Mm, mm, yeah. Anyway, yeah, Japan is cool. A lot of really cool stuff. I mean, what a country. I mean, I mean, it's a small landmass. It's not a very large landmass, obviously. But a lot of population. You know, a lot. I'd probably good farmland too. I would assume like a lot of decent resources as well. You know. Um, so yeah. But I mean, landmass would be way less than Texas, even I would think, right? I mean, it's shaped, and I mean, you got those islands too, but yeah, yeah, like Okinawa. That's the one everyone talks about. Yeah, there's some near Taiwan. Yeah. Anyway, Alps is too touristy. Crazy. Mm. Yeah. Have so you've done skiing before? And okay. We don't know the rules of crypto. Well, are there any rules? I mean, yeah, I mean, it's the Wild West. Mm. Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, I mean, we kind of know the laws are going to generally be more lenient with Trump, and I do think the laws will get pretty strict once the next Democrat gets in, whoever it may be. I don't think Newsom will win in 2028. Maybe I'm being, downplaying the Democrats' potential, but I don't think Newsom has much of a chance. Well, he has a chance, but I don't think he'll win. Is Trump going to actually pump? Are you serious? Is it pumping? I don't think it really was. I mean, oh, okay, it is. Okay. I have no idea why it's pumping, but it is pumping. That is correct. I mean, even from this, I mean, okay, you're up 30% from that low. I mean, it's not even. Let's look at. I want to look at Magic Eden on the because I have a couple of the probably terrible. No, I don't have this one. I don't have Series Two. I have Series One, which is probably a dead investment at some point. But let's see, what are these worth now? 84. So basically nothing. $84. I mean, so yeah. These would theoretically follow, if Trump coin pumps, those would theoretically follow, but it's kind of not anymore. I feel like he's released enough stuff, but I feel like knowing him, he'll release more stuff probably at this point. I don't know. I mean, nobody really thought that he would release a Trump and Melania coin. Melania they released because of how good. Even this is pumping a little bit. I wonder. I don't know what's that is. It could be a tweet. It could be something. Um, Halloween parties. Is Halloween even? Yeah, I guess people do still. Yeah, people have Halloween parties, but I'm trying to think. Is that like really? Do people celebrate? Yeah, I know they do Halloween in some other countries too. I don't think they really do it in the UK though. Could be wrong. The trick or treating thing is kind of weird to me. I don't know. It's like a weird thing. Hmm. I think the Argentinian peso is doing even worse, right? Yeah. Um, because they're trying to buy it up. Um, if you look at Truflation, that used to have a peso. I was just curious about. Was it Truflation? Oh, you can't see anything now. It's still at 30%, which is yeah. Oh, but it's okay. Is it? It was, wait a second. It went up? It was not. Huh. Oh, okay. Yeah, it's back to. That's still so high. Yeah. They can't freaking. You would think they would have been able to get it under control. I was there in like when, March, April, or whatever. I think I was there in March. And yeah, you would have think they would have been able to get it under control. Not really. Nah, it's still high. Um, so yeah, I don't know. Is it still cheap to go there? I heard it seems like, I mean, accommodation was cheap when I was there. Food was not. Grocery store prices and food prices were not that low. Not terrible, but not that, you know what I mean? Not that low. I mean, you call this a pullback, man? This is not much of a pullback. Pullback zone? Now I understand the question. I misunderstood it. Oh my god. Hmm. Hmm. Hard to say. I mean, I kind of don't think it'll, you know, if you come back to 100, well, that's so low though. Probably not. I don't know if you're gonna come down that low. Let me see something. I mean, 170 would be. This is. I didn't realize how volatile this is. Jeez, from there up 200. That is volatile, man. Somebody asked me to look in NVIDIA too. AMD's tricky. That's volatile. NVIDIA, I would say, and this probably would follow AMD to a certain extent, right? I mean, I guess it depends, but trigger wave right there. I think this is getting close to topping out for the year. I don't know if you're gonna get much more from this. Maybe a little bit more, like Bitcoin, ETH, but you're kind of like, this is where it's like, let me just look at this versus SPY a bit. Same thing there. I mean, there's certain things that just keep outperforming the SPY, but here's a long consolidation. So you had 10 years now. You had 10 years of outperforming the SPY pretty damn consistently. So I don't know. Will the next 10 years be as good? I mean, certain things do keep going, but I don't know. It could be a little bit different. Now, Apple, for example, just always outperforms the SPY regardless of, since for the last like 25, no, it's 20 years, 22 years, let's say. Really, well, a lot of things, remember, 20-year cycles are common. Outperform, I mean, it's kind of obvious this is probably going to be done outperforming the SPY. Even Berkshire sold Apple, which I think is the right idea, was the right idea. They're waiting for pullbacks. They're waiting for better deals. If the new management does follow in the footsteps of Buffett, but that's the main thing. They're waiting for better deals there. I think they will pick up some stuff if the markets do dump in 2026 a bit. The other thing I want to look at today is, let's look at the TLT, which is still below highs of 24, but it can continue, and it probably will, I would think, if you can break through above that point. I wanted to also look at the 10-year, which is now with the new inflation data. That's the thing too with this. Like, this is probably going to just be choppy a while. I don't know if you're going to break down to these lower points so soon. Your mortgage rates may be heading back upward a bit relatively soon. So yeah. Anyway, guys, it's now 2 a.m. where I am. I think I'm gonna, been on an hour. I think I'm gonna settle up down. But guys, if you're interested in trading, check out the pinned chat for BloFin, and you can get 20% cash back on all your fees. There's a good deposit bonus. Check it out. And remember, if you sign up and deposit at least $100 into BloFin or BYDFI with my link and open a support ticket with your UID or your email, I'll give you one free month in there. So yeah, just make sure you do that. I think the really good deposit bonus is on BYDFI right now. No KYC and VPN for BYDFI. And yeah, check it out. If you guys are interested, 2 main exchanges I've been using, BYDFI right here. So yeah, guys, I'll see you really soon. Smash the like button, all that good stuff.